We have a wild Montreal Canadiens trade update. Yes, trade update, as a big-time right-hand shot defenseman is reportedly available this offseason, and he has been linked by an insider to the Montreal Canadiens, a name that we have mentioned a lot on the channel before. We have to dive into all the talk around Rasmus Andersson and what he recently said, and we also have something pretty amazing happening between Lane Hutson and Ivan Demidov at practice that we got to dive into. That plus a big update on the Laval Rocket as they have clinched the first seed. There is a lot of stuff we got to get into, Jesse, especially this trade stuff. I'm very interested in all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. Just a reminder, guys, hit the free subscribe button down below because we got news every single day after every single playoff game. You know you want to stay up to date. Hit the button down there. Let's dive into this, and I want to start with Laval. Big story here. Florian Xhekaj was saying how when they announced that the first seed was clinched for Laval, the fans went absolutely nuts because that's it. They won their last game versus Belleville handily. An empty net goal by Alex Barré-Boulet sealed the deal as if it didn't already. It would made it 5-1, but right there, Jesse, at the top of the entire AHL, 3 points up on second place with 1 game to go. You know what that means. They are XYZ, clinched the division, clinched the conference, clinched the league. And here we go. Looking at their team, Jesse, there's a lot to break down. Jacob Fowler's had an amazing 2 games. Reinbacher seems good to go for the playoffs. And even Florian Xhekaj himself with 22 goals this year. Joshua Waugh being reassigned. Honestly, for all the hype surrounding Montreal, there should be equal hype for Laval right now because this team looks like it could potentially be a dynasty, which is crazy to say.
And, I love that both teams in the organization right now are getting the reinforcements at key time. Fowler, huge addition. Ivan Demidov, huge addition for the Montreal Canadiens. Like, all cylinders are firing right now for the organization. And, this is what you want for a young team in the rebuild, to make the playoffs ahead of schedule. And obviously, Laval doing what they've been doing throughout the year, a 47-19 record, a very respectable. Now, the first time that they've clinched first place in the AHL when they've been in the sole kind of ownership of their AHL team since 1991. So really kind of going back. But of course, this is just so promising for this organization because it means, Josh, that these young prospects, the kind of these gambles, the prospects that, that this organization really took and selected, that they're playing, above what it was really kind of expected from them, that they're actually panning out at the professional level right now. We're seeing a lot of guys, even Josh, I'm surprised, Jared Davidson is kind of surprising expectation. Sean Farrell has been very good when we kind of wrote him off as well, right?
Second half Sean.
Primeau is just doing unreal stuff right now. There is so many, besides the usual suspects, of course, of Beck, who's, one of the only rookie in the top 5, for the Laval Rocket in sport, in scoring. There's obviously Joshua. Well, the list continues right now. Just so many things to be positive with this team.
Yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, like you said, we could name so many guys. Even Adam Engstrom, they're 10th in scoring, and we got to talk about Logan Mailloux as well. Condada, the captain, has scored not too many goals this season, but a few in clutch moments as we've gone down the stretch. There was nothing but great stuff happening with the Rocket. It's probably Primeau's net heading into the playoffs, but knowing they have the backups of a guy like Fowler or Hughes if he becomes healthy again, straight up probably the best goalie core in the AHL. I don't know a whole lot of other goalie cores, but it's hard looking at those stats. It's hard to disagree, but leave some love for the Laval Rocket right now. Reinbacher's going to be playing. We might see Fowler, these guys at the top, unbelievable stuff. The fact that we ended this season with Davidson, Farrell, and Xhekaj, and even more, all getting 20 goals is honestly nuts. Leave some love for them down below, but we got to move on, Jesse, to Ivan. Talk about this practice right now. We saw Stu Cowan tweeting out that Lane Hutson's driving Demidov absolutely everywhere, saying, hey, Lane Hutson's a good driver. They seem to be best buds. You probably saw it in the thumbnail, but right here, they were the first 2 guys on the ice at the skate today, Jesse. And look, it seems to be that they're the kind of guys that we knew were going to be like this. We knew Hutson was already like this. We heard all the rumors that Demidov would be like this. The dude doesn't leave the weight room. He's always the first one on the ice. Even practicing one-timers yesterday. Hutson feeding over to Demidov. Now, as of right now, according to Eric Engels, the lines that the Habs have been running at practice still include it's Demidov new hook line A on the Habs second or third line, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. And Demidov is on the right wall on power play too, though this is where he'd be taking those one-timers from. And Jesse, I don't think I'm alone in saying, look, next time, Ivan, buddy, just shoot it. He got the punt there a few times, tried to make crazy passes in front. Team wasn't ready for it. But what do you make of this right now, especially maybe seeing Demidov moving up to the first power play? And a quote that I know you're going to talk about from Coach Marty.
Yeah, well, I love that he's really, he's hinting at it that we're going to get into. But I mean, this is the next bromance for the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki and Cole. Obviously, there's Josh and Jesse. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously, there's Lane and Ivan here, right? And obviously, we love that kind of our boy Hutson is taking them under his wing. There's a reason why they have this world-class work ethic of why they're really kind of getting along so well. So I love, because for me, Martin St. Louis saying this, like, it means something. Like, he's not just saying this just because. And hopefully, we're going to see Ivan Demidov on that PP1 sooner than later. So I feel like this is maybe a sign of things to come. Like, could we both see them on the power play? Because for me, those are power play looks. You're curling around, you're getting the puck, probably from a Lane Hutson here. That exercise is more geared towards a Demidov really than anybody else. Hudson's so given, he really knows that. But like, if the Habs can get like their power play going back to how lethal it's been earlier on in the season, Josh, it's went through a little bit of a cold streak lately, while it's still playing like some fairly good hockey. If we can get the power play going in this series against the Washington Capitals, this will be the difference maker. Yes, I still believe in Patrick Laine because I've seen with my own eyes, we all have what he's been able to do this year, and I think that really matters. But having guy like Demidov and being able to add him into this equation, obviously the PP is the difference maker. Ivan Demidov on the power play is also that difference maker.
Absolutely. And you know what? You made a good point there. Like when we added Laine there back in December, it changed the power play. And by the way, I didn't put the context of this quote. This is Marty talking about the power play, the PP1, right? Because again, the reporters know, we all know it hasn't been doing great as of late. One thing I've noticed, Jesse, is when the Habs make changes, adding good talent to their power play, like when we added Laine, the power play looked unbeatable for a bit because teams didn't know how to solve us when we had Caufield and Laine, right? But then as the season went on and we didn't change much, Laine became covered a lot more. We seemed a little more lost on the power play as we've seen as of late. Introducing a guy like Demidov onto that first power play could once again introduce that change, that extra threat, that thing we thought maybe it'd be Slav taking one-timers from the other side that could cause defenses to not have scouted our power play correctly. And I believe Coach Marty, I trust him to be able to make those adjustments as needed. If the power play's not working in the series, in the playoffs, you're fighting for your life literally every single game. So if a change is needed, they might have to implement it. Let us know your thoughts. Is Ivan going to make the PP1 before the end of this series? I would actually vote yes, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Final thing, Jesse, this is a jam-packed video. We're already talking about trade rumors. We haven't even started game one of the entire NHL playoffs as of the recording of this video, though by the time you're watching, one of the games has probably started. This is the first day of the playoffs. What an exciting day, but we're talking about trades because one team that got eliminated that actually had more points than even third place in the Metro Division, that's the Calgary Flames. They had some of their exit interviews, and Rasmus Andersson, Jesse, has some interesting stuff to say. He's been very adamant about how much he doesn't know what's coming next. He's been very strong in how much he's appreciated his time in Calgary. A lot of past tense. Now, we know Evan said some stuff in the past tense, and we re-signed him. The thing with Rasmus Andersson, Jesse, he's heading into the last year of his deal at $4.55 million, coming off a down year, especially offensively. And Marco D'Amico, again, Habs insider, came out and said this, and we've been talking about Andersson on the show a ton as a good target for the Habs, as Hughes has said he wants that kind of top four right shot D. Rasmus Andersson has been a top-end right D target. I've identified as being perfect for the Canadiens if they'd like to bring Reinbacher along slowly. If the Flames were to make him available, they'd have no shortage of suitors available. And honestly, Jesse, even if you want to bring Reinbacher to the NHL right away, having a D-core on the left side, Matheson, Guhle, Hutson, on the right side, Carrier, Andersson, and Reinbacher, and again, you have Struble and Xhekaj as like those 7th, 8th kind of defensemen. To me, that's really not a bad idea. And again, I'll let you give your thoughts on this, but my thought is this. He's on an expiring deal. You'd probably want to sign him a bit longer term. 4.55, especially for next year, which is going to be a contending year, hopefully. Coming off a down year, going into the final year of his contract, what better time to buy on a right shot D that we know can be a 50-point player and would gel, in my opinion, extremely well with any of our current left shot guys?
And that's because we got a lot of young guys coming up. We need to think of the future here as well. And Rasmus Andersson's kind of that sweet spot of being 28, where with David Savard leaving, he can come in and be a vet. And we know with Alex Carrier how much that's benefited the team in the past, while still, again, kind of being in that wheelhouse where he can benefit this team, obviously, for a couple of years to go, and that a little bit of that term on that does kind of make sense there. So with David Savard leaving this team, this is the type of profile I think that would really fit well. Obviously, we've talked about this on the show on the past as well there. I think in terms of what we're really looking for, right-hand shot, that bringing a little bit of a physical game. But there is the part like of his game also that like the offensive part that like he's played a lot of hockey. If we're looking at his DB here over the last 4 years, he hasn't missed much at all. And we'll notice that there's kind of a range of 30 to 50 points there, which really isn't bad. Kind of considering the other elements of the game that he brings as well. So for me, besides like that 2C, this becomes that much more important. Like, especially if you're going to go for like maybe a younger 2C to kind of grow with this team, which you have to feel like Kent, that's kind of the first base that he's going to go to. Then kind of getting that vet a little bit more so on that back end for probably the second most pressing need on as a right-hand D. Just in the meantime, I love Reinbacher, but I believe that there's a world even for both of them. I believe that competition is going to get fierce. It's already like this, but as we're getting our competition window, that obviously, these spots are going to be at a premium. And, I could see Andersson he definitely is on Kent Hughes' radar.
Yeah, and again, like, even if it's just for that 1 year, I feel like, again, look at his plus minus, it's not very good at all. He had some shortcomings this year in Calgary, that's for sure. But, a change of scenery can always do well. And like I said, Jesse, I just feel like you put him with a guy like Guhle or even a guy like Hutson and things would work out great. Like, he can be physical. He can get a lot of points. He can play good defense at times as well. Like, again, and I think it'd be pretty cheap to bring him in. And that kind of contract is very conducive to a winning team, right? Getting a guy like, look, we might not have that bona fide number one right-hand shot defenseman if we go for Rasmus Andersson. He could play first pairing. So could Carrier. So could maybe Reinbacher. I don't know about like right next year if he'll be fully ready for that. But what I'm saying is like the depth on the right side is great. While we do have that bona fide number one D in the future in Leighton Hutson, not to mention Cayden Guhle on any given night could also play 25 minutes, shut down the opposing team's best line, right? So I think it's a great fit. I saw some speculation, some people saying, why not Josh Anderson for Rasmus Andersson? We've heard some smoke there in the past of Calgary maybe going after Josh Anderson. Contracts make some sense. Let us know what you guys think. Like, we could talk about this for ages, but regardless, he's a guy that seems to be on his way out from Calgary. He's a guy we've talked about before. Habs insiders are talking about him. Why not us? Why not now? That's the motto for the playoffs as well. So we'd love to hear all your thoughts down below, but that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 25K, just past 20. Why not 25? You guys are supporting us like crazy, and honestly, we really, really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.